watching, guys. Welcome back to another deck profile. Today we are going to be going over Venusaur. Now Venusaur is a deck that was requested, as well as it was a deck that we knew we wanted to build when this came out, because we saw this Venusaur and we were like, wow, 160 HP on a non-EX Pokemon with a really good ability. Yeah, that's gonna be a deck we're gonna build. But if you didn't know already, Venusaur actually has the same stylistically, like the same thing as Sceptile. If you look at these two Sceptiles here, this Sceptile from Stormfront and this Sceptile from Great Encounters, they both have the same abilities as Venusaurs that we're playing. This one has Energy Trans, you can move grass energies, and this one has Wild Growth, the grass energy attached to your grass Pokemon double up. So the only difference here, right, is that these have to be attached to grass Pokemon, whereas Venusaur just doubles them no matter where they're attached. So you can kind of gain some things from there. But anyways, we knew it was going to be kind of similar to Sceptile, so we were kind of like, okay, do we build it exactly like Sceptile? Do we play it a little different? Because virtually, like, the abilities are going to be, like, you know, almost the same. So we decided to take the skeleton from Sceptile, change a few cards, and boom, we had yourself a Venusaur list. So there's a lot of, I'm going to go over things that you can do to kind of change it up even more, but for now it's going to look very similar to Sceptile, just I think the way that you play the decks is just going to be stylistically different. So the reason I'm showing these four cards here, the Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, all from Shining Legends, these are all in the deck. However, Lackey still does not have the Shining Legends or Crimson Invasion cards on it yet, so we still I can't show it to you in the giant list quite yet. The other card that's going to be in the list is Shining Genesect. Now, the way that we decided to build this deck, like I said, is very similar to Sceptile. The new Sceptile build does have this Shining Genesect in it. It's still yet to be determined whether this is going to be an EX or not. We haven't had that official ruling, but right now it's not, because they haven't said it is, because it's not a holo rare, it's a secret rare, or however you want to put it, because it's got that cool holographic star down there. So we don't know if it's going to be a rare or not quite yet. I'm assuming it will be, but if it's not, then awesome, this card's busted. You know, with 2 energies on there and Jungle Totem, you're going to be hitting for 130 damage for 2 energies, which seems pretty good, especially if you can move the energies around with the Energy Trans Venusaur, so you can move the energies off max push and move them back on. The other thing that kind of does for you is it gives you like an unlimited damage cap, right? If you only need 130 damage, you're only going to attach 2 energies. If you need to one-shot something big, you can move most of your energies over there. So it kind of revolves around the Shining Genesect, but it also can revolve around the Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur from XY, Crisis Vine, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed and poisoned. Now, there was a debate when Grady and I were making these decks about which Mega Venusaur to play. There is a Mega Venusaur from Generations that has Bloom Buster. Flip a coin, if it does 30 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So, the debate circled around obviously which one do we play? They both have the same HP, retreat cost, and weakness, that doesn't matter. They both take 4 energies to use. This one can use a DCE, so like if you have a grass and a DCE on there, it will count. So like if you get hexed, you can just slap another grass on there and boom, you can attack with Bloom Buster. However, that would be the reason we decided not to is because they do the same damage, right? This is 120 and poisoned, so it's doing 130, this is doing 130. So then we had to decide between whether it's the 30 bench snipe or the paralyzation. Now normally I think we would go with the 30 bench snipe. If it didn't have the flip a coin, we would go for the 30 bench snipe every day of the week, because that's just kind of really good. 30 to everything, yeah, especially with such a low HP on like basic stuff and Porygon Z being everywhere. But the fact that you had to flip a coin kind of seemed weird. So the argument then became, okay, how good is actually paralyzation? Now this deck's obviously going to suffer to Hex Lock, because you're going to get hexed, you don't get Jungle Totem, you don't get Energy Trans, you don't get Fluorescent, that sort of thing. You can't set up. And it's going to be really, really hard to attack again with like a Mega Venusaur or a Shining Genesect. So, the way that we decided to go with it is Paralyzation. This is going to knock out any basic in Stage 1, right? 120 damage are going to knock out most any basic Stage 1. The Stage 2 is going to have a little bit bulkier of a health. So what your opponent's going to have to do is, in order to attack, they're going to have to dig for a switch, an escape rope, a scoop up, an AZ, that sort of thing. They're going to have to commit resources to get out of that paralyzation, which means it's less likely that they're going to be hexing you, right? That's just kind of the philosophy behind it, is that if they have to dedicate all this stuff to hex and to get out of the active, eventually they're going to start running out of resources. And plus, even if they hex you, you can still just max potion it. Sure, you'll lose the energies, but you can attach an energy down to one of your basics and pass. Now they have to hex again, because if they don't, you'll go ahead and douse the machine for that max potion, play it, move the energies back up, get your jungle totem back, and Crisis Final again, right? So that's just kind of how the thought process worked behind the entire thing, and that's why we try to just go with this Mega Venusaur instead of this Mega Venusaur, so in case you're wondering. But you know, we're not going to stop you from using this Mega Venusaur. We don't have a Tapu Koko in this list, and it was one of the final cards that we considered playing. And I think if you went with Bloom Buster, you would almost have to play Tapu Koko. And Tapu Koko gets charged up with 1 Grass Energy and a Jungle Totem, so it just kind of makes sense to play Tapu Koko in that regard, because any deck with a DCE should play Tapu Koko, in our opinion. So if you play Bloom Buster, definitely do Tapu Koko. You might even consider playing a Victini if you really want to get this Bloom Buster off, but it's like the only one that has a flip. So there's the philosophy about that, but really your 2 attackers are going to be the Mega Venusaur and the Shining Genesect. Mega Venusaur early game to, like, you know, establish a lot of pressure, to have your opponent use a lot of resources to try to get these hex locks, to kill the Mega Venusaur, to do all this stuff. And once they do that, then you can just like sweep with Shining Genesect, because it's got a, you know, by that point you're going to be attaching single energies per turn, and you're going to just have a lot of energies to blow whatever you want up. So with that in mind, we actually don't have an EXP share in this deck, and that was one of the last things that we considered playing as well. It is in the Mega Sceptile list, but it's not in this one because we, you know, EXP share has kind of been falling off in our opinion, in like in terms of the like good cards, power rankings, that sort of thing. But in this deck, if you could save an energy and still charge up Shining Genesect, that would seem okay. The other thing we considered was a Max Elixir. We don't have enough grass energies to play a Max Elixir, but I can see times where like you're running out of energies on field and you need a double attachment. I mean, that's kind of what the Mega Turbo is for, because it does give you that second attachment, but obviously it's not going to work if you don't have the Mega Venusaur out. So a lot of things to consider with that final, like those final card slots on the things that we changed. What else did we consider here? It's going to be mostly standard stuff. It's going to look exactly like the Mega Sceptile list. We got to add an extra Fluffy Berry instead of the EXP share because you do have some fatties. We added a Heavy Ball instead of the Superior Energy Retrieval, just because 2 of your Venusaurs are Heavy Ball searchable. Boop. 2 of your Venusaurs are Heavy Ball searchable, your Mega Venusaur is Heavy Ball searchable, and then we also have an Ivysaur that's Heavy Ball searchable. There are 2 Ivysaurs that are Heavy Balls, but we actually liked the 80 HP and 1 retreats a little bit more, just because you can get 9 retreat, or you can get 90 HP and 3 retreat to be Heavy Ball searchable. So it's just kind of the way that works there. It's the other new Ivysaur. None of the Bulbasaurs are Heavy Retreat, so we went with the 2 1 retreats with the most HP, and then the 70 HP 1 with 2. So, you have Revitalizer, you have Rescue Stretcher, and Retriever, and Super Rod. You have a lot of recovery, and that's also, you can loop Shining Genesect to the mid to late game. That's just kind of what this deck's about, especially if it never gets, you know, as of it stands right now, this very second, Shining Genesect is not an EX. They have not made an official ruling on it. So, until they do, this is a non-EX. It's just going to be blasting people for 130 damage, and it works perfectly in Venusaur, because if they can't hit 130 damage, if they're like a 2-shot deck, a control deck, that sort of thing, you're going to be able to move all the energies off and max potion and keep going. So we do play a max potion and a Pokemon Center. We play both of them to kind of maximize, like, you know, you're going to be moving energies off and healing stuff. So we wanted to kind of maximize those efforts there. After that, nothing else is really special. We play the 1 laser because we play Verbank, even though there's not much poison. The only thing that's poisoning is the Mega Venusaur. I think there's like a Bulbasaur that does it. This Poison Seed will poison. This Venusaur's attack poisons. You can use this for 2 energies with Jungle Totem, and keep in mind though, it is an EX. It's the only EX outside of obviously Mega Venusaur EX in your deck. Floral Scent's just kind of there to help you set up. We were trying to figure out which of the third, like what would the third Venusaur be. We knew we wanted to play Energy Trance and Jungle Totem, and the third one ended up being Floral Scent because you want Energy Trance to Jungle Totem out at all points. So which one do you Mega Evolve? And it was this one, or there was a Venusaur that said when you attach an energy to your active, you can attach another energy. But I think Fluorescent is just a little bit more consistent, and it helps you set up better rather than getting that second energy attachment to your active, especially since you're going to evolve it into the Mega and you won't get that power anymore. So Fluorescent just kind of makes sense to set up better. But yeah, outside of that, it's a really standard looking list. It's not very different, like I said, from the Mega Sceptile list. The Diva sprays for the Porygon Z. Everything else is very standard. 13 energies seems like a lot, but I mean, you don't want to miss an energy attachment. Outside of that, nothing special. If you have any questions, please let us know. If the Shine Genesect gets changed to an EX, I think this deck is still playable. We don't think this is like tier 1, tier 2 right now. It's probably like a tier 3 or tier 4. It's like just a solid stage 2 line, but you need to get a lot of stage 2s out to make it work as perfectly as you want it to. And that's just not going to happen every game. So I guess just keep that in mind. But yep, if you have any questions, please let us know. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.